Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 80 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It's a weekend edition again, and as you can see, it's a bright sunny day out there in October in Saskatchewan, and today I'm going to play with the scroll saw that I drove 4.5 hours each way to pick up. So if you want to see what I'm going to do today, all you have to do is stay tuned. Yes, this is one of the new Pride and Joy pieces in my shop. I don't fancy myself a scroll sawyer, but I got into it enough when I was teaching that I could guide my grade 7 students and my more advanced Intarsia students through the intricacies of using the scroll saw. So this one, like I said, I drove down to Kamsack for a weekend ago, I don't know. There's a video about it if you want to see what I did. You'll notice that in the video that I drove in and all of a sudden it was in the trunk and we drove home. Well, it happened about that quickly. I didn't even plug this thing in and try it before I handed him the money, threw it in my trunk, and we're out of there. It was like a drug deal. So, but I could tell as soon as I got there that the person I was dealing with was legitimate. I knew his word was the truth the way he saw it. And he said there probably wasn't an hour on this saw. So I plugged it in this last week or so and started playing with it a little bit. And I agree, this feels very much like running a brand new saw. So if anybody out there knows of another Delta 40-570 like this, I'd be interested, because apparently now I need 5 scroll saws instead of 3. Anyway, moving right along. What I'm going to do today to test it out is I'm going to cut this little Christmas ornament. Now, one of the things, as you know, if you've watched any of my videos, that I'm involved with Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild and the Hub City Turners. And both of those clubs get involved with a Christmas project in Saskatoon called the Festival of Trees. And organizations buy a tree from the festival organizers, and then they decorate it, and then those trees are auctioned off and the proceeds go to a provincial charity, I believe. I'm not that familiar with it, but anyway, they're doing good work. So I've never been involved in this before, so I was thinking that this year I would do a few little decorations. I might turn a few. I might cut one like this on all 3 of my scroll saws just to test them out. But yeah, it's a good thing to be involved with, and I think a perfect storm. I can test my new saw, and I can contribute to what the guild and the turning club are doing. So anyway, one of the things that I think will be coming up, probably a future video, I'm cutting this out of scrap oak that I had kicking around. It's 3/16 thick, and I want the decoration to be rather light. One of the problems, I think, with Christmas ornaments that are made of wood is they tend to get heavy, and you've got your branch hanging down like that. And I want to keep this light. So this is 3/16 oak. I wouldn't have picked oak, but I had the scrap. And I think what I'm going to do, excuse me, is, when this is all cut out, I'm going to gold leaf this. That's another thing that I used to do quite a bit in the school shop, and I haven't done for a while. So you can tell I'm reviving all these things I used to do, like marbling and inlay, and now I'll add gold leafing to that as well. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe move you in a little closer for cutting. What I have done already, I've already drilled all the holes, and if I was cutting this with students, on this particular piece, I would do all the internal cuts first, because that way they have enough wood to hold on to so their fingers aren't close to the blade, and that's important. By the way, I haven't even changed the blade. This is the original blade it came with. So I'm going to get going with that. I think I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer for that, and we're going to do some cutting. Okay, and we're back. I had already drilled 1/16 holes to run the blade through to cut the internal pieces out. So I've done that already. I drilled the hole for hanging it up at the top, and using or putting this blade through reminded me of one of the strengths and problems with this saw. These Delta blade, quick release blade holders, they're excellent when they're new, but when they wear out, basically the saw is kind of done because you can't get parts for these. So I went through this in the school shop. We had 4 SS250s, and I just converted them all to Makita blade holders, and that works pretty good. And in fact, my SS350 that I have here also has Makita holders on it. But I need to find thumb screws yet, so I don't need a wrench to change blades. Right now I do yet. So anyway, here we go. We're going to cut. Like I said, I haven't even changed the blade in this yet, so we'll see how this works. And away we go. Got to get the blower. I think the key with this is just go slow. Oops. One thing that would annoy my students is on a straight cut like this, sometimes they'd have to have their piece at an angle to cut straight. And I believe the cause of that is what I would refer to as blade drift. Oops, I'm taking a shortcut there. That's not good. I think with scroll saw, it's just a matter of taking your time. And with young students, it's keeping their fingers away from the point of operation, and that's where the blade is cutting. But notice I've got quite a bit of wood here to hang on to. And if I just take my time, hopefully you can see with my hand there. Whoops. And there we go. Okay. Well, the saw cuts really well. I can tell by running it that it hasn't cut much. So that's really, really nice. Like I say, these blade holders, the upper hold down, or the hold down here, sometimes gets in the way a little bit, but when I picked up the saw, he wasn't using it with the hold down as most people don't. But I got into the habit in the school shop. The way the saw came was the way we used it. So the guards, the hold downs, everything that was there when we bought the saw got used because of the liability that's involved. So if I make a change to a saw and that upper guide causes, or the lack of that upper hold down causes the student to lose control, I could be liable. So I was very careful with that. But yeah, this works really good. I'm not going to show you all the cutting, but because I think you get the picture. But it slides in really nicely. Then you get this into the, oops. Anyway, sorry, I kind of cut myself off. This wasn't on the saw when I threw it in my trunk, and I thought, boy, I better ask for it because for me it's important. And sure enough, in his very neat, well-organized shop, he managed to go to his bench and find it right away, and was happy to get rid of it. So it worked out for both of us. Oops, yeah, these things are wonderful when they work. When they don't work, they're a pain. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish cutting all the internals, and then I'm going to bring you back when I'm cutting the outside, and then we'll wrap this video up. Okay? Okay, the inside is done, and it worked. It worked really well. I don't know if you can see it really well from there. I've got a little bit of touch up to do, a little bit of sanding, but that's I've never professed to be an expert on this tool, so in a sense I am just learning as well. But now I'm going to cut the outside of it. Very, very impressed with this saw with the blade changing for the internal cuts. It makes me realize how slow we're going to go when I have to get a wrench out and do this with the other saws. So anyway, that's the way it is. So we'll do some cutting. Okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to clean up a little bit. But anyway, there it is. Like I say, I have a little bit of cleanup to do. Yeah, and one thing I noticed too, this blade, and I forget exactly what they're called, but it's the blade it has teeth pointing down for most of the way, and then at the bottom it has teeth pointing up. And when I got to the finer parts here, I could feel those teeth pushing up. And I just don't like that feel. So I've tended to be a regular blade user when we were in school, and I still think I like that. I like the blade pushing the piece down, not pulling it up. Every once in a while in school, I'd be in a big rush and I'd get a blade upside down. And the student would be, and unfortunately, they didn't always know that what was wrong. They blamed themselves. But yeah, not my preferred blade, but maybe if you have a preferred blade, make a comment. Tell me what's your best, and I'm going to go about starting to test all these. But yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of this video today. I just wanted to do a little bit of cutting with this thing and see how it worked. I think for $100, this is an awesome buy. The only problem with this saw is that I had to drive 9 hours to get it. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem, but it's wonderful. The blade holders work really well. You can tell this saw does not have a whole bunch of time on it. So yeah, as you can tell, I have experience with the scroll saw as far as the intellectual side of it goes. I can walk kids through what they need to do, but I haven't done a lot of actual work myself. So if you're a scroll sawyer and you have tips for me, I'd be more than anxious to hear from you, because I've got a bit to learn, but I have to admit, cutting this out was quite a bit of fun. So anyway, with that in mind, like I said, this was the weekend edition. We're getting to the end of it, and it's a beautiful day outside. I'm maybe going to take my motorcycle out for one last ride this year, and away we go. So have a great weekend, everybody, and next week I start teaching again, so I'm not sure, and I'm teaching more this year than I did last year, so I'm not sure how that's going to work with shooting videos, but we'll find out. So anyway, Chapter 80 is soon going to be history. Take care, have an awesome weekend, and thanks for watching.